Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another thing where I talk about things. Today, we're going to talk about Zootopia at a slightly more comical angle than perhaps a lot of people have talked about Zootopia, because I have not actually seen Zootopia. But before we get to that, I've got a little bit of news, just stuff to talk about. The first thing is that, fortunately for us, Merlin Phonophile released the content ID claims on our content. Like I say, there was they really had no basis for their copyright claim in the first place. They had uploaded music using a license. They'd abused a license and they'd violated some copyrights, and that was how they were claiming my stuff. So it took about a week, and I sent them 3 emails, and they didn't respond to any of my emails. But just recently they released the claims. It could always come back and be a problem again, because Content ID is always open to problems. That's how the system works. That's what Content ID is all about. But yeah, we're in safe waters for now. Until further notice, there's no risk of the channel being deleted. So good news there. Good news there. Also, too, I just wanted to comment a little bit. We did some experimenting with the Fallout thing. I needed to do more recording of that, because I ran to the end of I got to the end of my footage, and I was like, okay, I got to sit down for like an hour and play the game and do some more recording, and found it difficult to get around to devoting an hour to another project. But one thing that I did is I started uploading that, because I have heard that essentially what YouTube is promoting, what YouTube wants, is like long-form video that you release frequently. And the more frequently you release, the better. So you're seeing like a lot of channels, like many Let's Players now that are very popular, and lots of like all the big reaction channels and everything like that. They release like 2 to 3 videos a day now, which is actually kind of insane if you think about it. Like, I mean, that means that these people sit down and they play a video game for like however long, and then they edit the video, and they're uploading like multiple videos. And YouTube's system, for whatever reason, is rewarding this. Our theory is that what it must be is that YouTube is uploading stuff up. Like, if you upload multiple things in the same day, it's all going to like the same server, maybe. And YouTube wants to sort of power down servers it's not using. So content that's not being watched goes to like a server that powers down, saves energy, bandwidth, all that stuff, and all your new content goes to the same server. If it's really big, if it's really long, then it holds people on a single video for a while. They're not hopping around all over the website. They're not activating a bunch of different servers. So our theory is that uploading multiple videos that are long saves YouTube money on the technical level. And so they're trying to promote channels that upload multiple videos that are long to save themselves cash. And then they put all their best advertising on channels that upload multiple videos that are long. And they don't care about the quality of the videos, they just care that people are watching them, and that they are long, and that they are doing multiple uploads a day. So, I was watching our subscriber count, like for the January and February. Actually was taking a bit of a nosedive, and I wasn't really sure. I can't say what was causing it. Maybe it was just some bizarre quirk. But it was looking a little bit dicey, like I'd never seen it drop so low before. And then I started doing the Fallout Let's Plays, where I was just uploading every day, and I watched the subscriber count go right back up. Could just be coincidence, but then I don't know. The other thing that I noticed was that, bizarrely enough, like, per click, per view, they are giving me substantially more ad revenue for doing the Let's Plays, doing the Fallout 4 Let's Plays, and this is super weird. Because, like, you look at, like, the Mentally Advanced series, or even, like, Jim of the Romantic Journey, or the One Punch Man spoof. Like, One Punch Man got, 50,000 hits, or whatever, right? But every single one of those hits was worth, a fraction of what the Fallout 4 videos were worth. So, basically, and they've actually talked about this, but, like, if you watch Game Grumps, like, if you used to be familiar with Aaron from Game Grumps, back when he was Ego Raptor and doing animations, he quit doing animations because essentially when he moved over to surviving on YouTube, I guess, created this very strong financial incentive to stop doing high-skill, long production cycle work, and they very strongly reward this low-skill, high-quantity, high-time work. So for our channel, we've got to figure out a way. We're not going to quit doing animations, because the animations are the part that we actually like, that are fun and that are like exciting and fresh and feel like challenging. But I guess the general idea is to just have videos out like every day, and that's what YouTube wants. Long video, like, so the Let's Plays every single day. I guess I'll just keep doing the Fallout 4 Let's Plays. Yeah, that's the bottom line. So I'll just keep doing the Fallout 4 Let's Plays, and they've pulled in fewer views than anything else I've done, but it appears to be what YouTube wants. So I don't know. Weird. But yeah. But that said, Zootopia. Yeah, Zootopia. So I haven't seen Zootopia, but a lot of people have been talking about Zootopia, and after it aired, a bunch of people came in, and everyone keeps making, like, furry jokes and things like that. And I haven't seen Zootopia, but I really kind of wanted to see Zootopia, because I really sort of like that animal fable style of thing. And, like, people talk about it being furry, but I don't think that it qualifies as furry, because furry is like, like it's basically like humans with, like, a wolf tail and a wolf head. And that's like furry, is they're basically humans but with bestial facial features. That's generally what people do. But when you actually are drawing like a fox just walking around on 2 legs, or like a rabbit just walking around on 2 legs, like you look at the animals in Zootopia, and they are definitely animals. Like they're bipedal versions of those animals, but like that fox is definitely a fox. So I don't think you can get away with calling it furry. But that said, rather humorously, as soon as Zootopia released in the US, Tumblr was putting some Zootopia images on my Tumblr dashboard, and I was scrolling down, and like one of the first images that popped up was rabbit vagina. Like it was just, Tumblr was just like, "Hey Greg, check out this blog," and it was just like rabbit vagina, and I'm just like, "Oh, well, thank you, Tumblr. How thoughtful of you." And I guess I think there's a way that you're supposed to tag not safe for work stuff, and this guy had not tagged his stuff not safe for work, so Tumblr was just like, "Oh, this is a popular image. Other people will want to see this." And so right on my front page it went. So yeah. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I am going to talk about Zootopia, but my plan is I want to say what I think the movie is about. Or rather, I'm going to make up a series of convoluted explanations for how you could create a plot about a rabbit and a fox, but also they have to meet a sloth, and also they have to meet a possum, but the possum is a parody of The Godfather. Because I've seen some of the trailers, and I've seen that scene with the sloth, I've seen the bit with the sloth, and aside from that, I know nothing about the movie. So I haven't really thought about very much what I'm doing, so all this is off the top of my head. But anyway, though, so my theory is that, subcontext, there is a romance element. There's got to be a romance element, because they've got a fox, and they've got a rabbit. And, like, rabbits reproduce all the time, and there was porn of that rabbit right away, so there must have been some kind of deep underlying sexual tension throughout the movie. I'm sure the internet wouldn't just make porn randomly of whatever stupid crap is out there in the world today. So there must have been some kind of deep underlying romantic tension between the rabbit and the fox. And foxes are considered like sexy animals. Not male foxes, I guess, but female foxes. I don't know who started this convention. Maybe Disney, back when they did the Robin Hood things? Maybe Marion? No. Maybe, well, I don't know. I don't know who started this. I think it was Disney. Disney started this foxes are sexy thing. I've seen foxes in real life, and they're not especially sexy animals. They're more timid than anything like that. They're like little cats and stuff like that. But anyway, though, I think that the fox is not really into the rabbit, but the rabbit is probably kind of into the fox, like in a sort of I don't want to admit that I'm in love with you kind of way. Because I know I've seen videos where rabbits get a little attached to like cats, and I think there's not a very far distance between a cat and a fox. So probably a rabbit could fall in love with a fox, but a fox couldn't really fall in love with the rabbit, because that would be like falling in love with like a hamburger. Like you just can't do that. You can't form that total affection, I mean, like, some people fall in love with cows, but imagine if cows were like, imagine you can't fall in love with you can't fall romantically in love with a cow. You just appreciate the cow for its personality. So anyway, though, so the fox can appreciate the rabbit's personality, but the fox doesn't want to have a romantic relationship with the rabbit, but the rabbit wants to have a romantic relationship with the fox. That's the subplot of the movie, and carries out throughout the entire thing. And evolves until eventually the rabbit realizes that it should focus on its career and not worry so much about what the fox is doing. And the main plot of the movie, though, has to take us, like I say, into this criminal element. So I know that there's like, I think the rabbit is a meter maid. So when the movie opens up, what probably happens is like the rabbit approaches the fox, and the fox has parked like his motorcycle, because foxes are cool, right? Like the fox drives a motorcycle. So he's driving a motorcycle, and he's parked it in front of the meter, but he hasn't paid the meter because foxes are cool and they don't play by the rules. So the rabbit comes up and she tries to give him a ticket. And so the fox is all like smooth and suave, because foxes are smooth and suave, and he's like, hey, listen, baby, like, you don't need to give me that ticket because my grandmother is in the hospital with fatal fox disease, and the rabbit is just like totally unmoved. And so then the fox, you know, he tries everything. He kind of goes through his playbook, like, oh, you know, my grandmother's sick, and you know, I was just gonna be out here for like 10 minutes. You know, it's just a motorcycle. It's like, I'll just give me a few more minutes. And the rabbit's not having any of it. You know, she's very serious, meter maid oriented rabbit. She's not having any of this nonsense. And so then the fox says, look, baby, like he goes all out. He goes, look, baby, you're so beautiful. Like your eyes are so big, and your ears are so have so much volume and shine, because it's kind of like your hair, but you're a rabbit, so we have to sort of put humanoid elements onto you as an animal. And I just like, I love what you've done with your little furry paws, and that's just, oh god, like, rabbit, you're so pretty. And the rabbit is taken in by this, and she's trying to fight her better instincts, but being a rabbit, she has a ridiculous instinct to reproduce as fast as she can, so that when she's devoured by this fox later on, she knows that her offspring will live on after her. And so fighting her heart, she agrees to maybe let the fox off early if he can prove that his grandmother actually is dying from fox disease, and that he was only going to be around for like a few minutes, and all this other stuff. So being around for a few minutes, like that's easy. The fox just acts like, oh, well, I was just gonna go throw something away, and so the fox has to go to his motorcycle, and he's got to look for something that he's got to throw away. And of course, there's nothing good to throw away. He's just got like all these things, and eventually he takes something like some little decal that he's got, or like a, you know, like how people kind of hang things from the. He's got like a little ornament that he hangs on the front of his motorcycle, and so he just takes that and he picks it up and he just throws it in the garbage. And see, just going to the garbage, just going to throw away this bike ornament. That's all I was doing. And he really liked that bike ornament. He's gonna come back to the garbage later. This will be for a comedy scene. He'll come back and he'll dig through the garbage and he'll get the little ornament back. And this will come up later when the rabbit realizes that he's a liar. It'll be after she finds that little bike ornament. She'll be so upset. She'll be like, oh, you lied. You didn't really throw away that thing. Like all this. I bet your grandmother's not even sick. So anyway, though, the grandmother's all tangled up in this now, but his grandmother is actually perfectly healthy. But his grandmother is also a con woman. So he might be able to swindle he might be able to talk his grandmother into helping him out, but his grandmother is like super untrustworthy. So he's trying to figure out how he gets through this. But somehow they've got to get to the DMV where they meet the sloth, because I saw that bit and I know that's in the movie, so I've got to justify that somehow. I assume that another, no, what could you tell a meter maid that would convince her to take you to the DMV? Like, because I can't think of any reason. Like, what would you do? Like, maybe his license is expired on top of everything else. Yeah. His license is expired because he didn't want to go get it renewed because he's a fox. He doesn't play by the rules and everything like that. So that's another thing that he tells. He's got this whole list of problems this meter maid has with him. So he tells her, no, my license is totally cool. Like, in fact, I can prove it. Like, I got a friend down at the DMV. And so this is the second thing he's got to do. The grandmother thing is the third big thing. That's the difficult thing that he's got to get to. So he tells her, like, no. Like, I have a driver's license. If we go down to the DMV, then I can prove it. You know, my friend the sloth will show you that I have a valid driver's license, and there you go. And so, you know, she kind of wants to spend more time with the fox. She's sort of smitten by him. He's sort of cute. He's got the big fangs. You know, oh, he's a bad boy. And so she goes, okay, yeah, we can go down to the DMV, and I tell you what, like, I'll ride along behind you in my little meter maid cart, and we'll go talk to your DMV friend, and then we'll know whether or not you have a valid license. So they drive down to the DMV, and then you had that whole bit with the sloth, where the fox is like, hey bud, want to hear a joke? And the sloth is like so slow, and he takes so long, and he tells everyone in the office the joke that pretty soon the DMV closes, and the rabbit can't prove that the fox actually had a driver's license. So it's all part of a clever ploy. The fox, very clever, very clever. But he's super nice and he's super suave. And so the rabbit is like really frustrated because she feels like she's been duped and she wants to be career-oriented, but she's captivated by her heart, by her desire to reproduce as a rabbit, as rabbits are wont to do. So she's very frustrated with this fox, but he goes, oh man, well, too bad. You're like, the DMV closed. What a drag, man. I thought you really would have liked my sloth friend. I thought that you guys would have really hit it off. And so the rabbit girl says, well, okay, fine. Like, I trust that you have your license. I'm not gonna double check on that. Like, you did go to the garbage, and so that's a sign that you were legitimately going to the garbage. I'll get back on this. I'll get back on this license thing. But in the meanwhile, I'm gonna need your phone number. And see, the rabbit feels very clever asking this, like acting like, oh, it's just for business. I need your phone number, but really, it's so she can look him up on Facebook and she can stalk all his Facebook friends and look up all his pictures. And so they part ways, and he goes home, and you have this sort of comedic split screen, right? Where you cut back and forth between the characters. And so the rabbit goes home to her little rabbit hovel that she lives in, or her rabbit apartment hovel. I don't know for sure. I think they live in a city situation. So the rabbit lives in the basement of an apartment because rabbits live underground, and the foxes also live underground. So fox lives in the basement of an apartment, and they're both happy. They have similar living situations, sort of. But the fox is significantly messier because he's a bad boy. He doesn't play by the rules, and the rabbit's all neat and clean, and everything looks really good. And there's all kinds of posters of like hunky rabbit guys up on the walls because she's a rabbit. She's got a bit of a problem, and so the fox goes home and the rabbit goes home, and the rabbit like opens up on Facebook and she looks up his phone number and she finds his Facebook, and she's going through his photos, and she finds him like pictures of him out on the beach, and she's all smitten. She's like, oh, look at this sleek looking fox and his Speedo, and her heart's all aflutter. And then the fox back at his apartment is like freaking out, and he's going around, and he calls his grandmother, and he's like, hey, listen, Gran, like, I'm in trouble with the police. Like, my license is expired, and she wants to give me a ticket, and if she finds out I've got all these like other outstanding tickets, they're gonna throw me in the clink, and I need your help. And his grandmother goes, she goes, you never call. And, you only call when you want money or when you want me to do some kind of con deal with you. And he's just going on like, Grandma, this is very serious. And so you cut back and forth. You get this comedic split screen for juxtaposition where the fox is like arguing with his grandma, and he's like really sleazy, and everything's all messed up. But all of his Facebook photos look really clean and really nice, and he looks like really attractive and collected. Like when he's in front of the camera, he's just like, yeah, like fox. And so the rabbit girl's developing this completely separate impression of him, so you get this juxtaposition, this comedic juxtaposition in the two characters. And so finally his grandmother says, all right, look, I tell you what, I'll help you out, but you gotta scratch my back. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like, I'm in it deep with the mob right now because I got involved in sort of a counterfeiting deal, and I sort of snookered the guys. So, or snookered, I think is the word I want. Yeah, I think snookered might refer to sex, but whatever. Yeah, she snookered the guy. So she swindled him. She snookered him. She did all these things. She did everything. She did terrible. She's a fox. Can't be trusted, Granny. So Granny says, yeah, I'll pretend to be sick with fox disease if you help me get out of this sticky mess with the mob. And the fox is just like, are you kidding, the mob? Like, man, this is not worth the mob. Like, you got to throw something in this to sweeten the pot. And she goes, no, I don't. I'm holding all the cards. Like, you can come help me with the mob, or I can let you get thrown in prison for all your outstanding tickets and not having a license and driving without a license. And so the fox goes, okay, fine. All right, fine, Grandma. Like, I'll help you out. Like, you prove that you're sick, I'll get you out of this thing with the mob. So the next day, so they agree. They make a plan, and she goes, it's fine. It's not really that big of a deal with the mob. She underplays the whole thing to try and make him think that he's not getting set up for a fall or anything like that. So essentially the grandmother then goes and probably off screen, because you wouldn't want the audience to know this, because you got to create that sort of surprise, that rising tension. The grandma would call the mob and be like, oh yeah, my grandson's got all the money. He's coming. I gave it all to him. It's all his debt now. It's his problem now. So he goes to get the rabbit. The fox goes to get the rabbit, and they go to see the grandma. And the grandma goes, oh, I don't feel good. And the fox's plan is, of course, to just show that the grandma is sick, and then he's actually not going to go deal with the mob thing, because that's a screw deal, and he knows it. So he's just trying to, like, oh, yeah, grandma's sick, see here, grandma's sick. And, of course, the rabbit is all touched, and she's sad, and she's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I'm so concerned for you, Grandma Fox. Like, oh, do you need anything? And she just wants to help, you know, just well-meaning little rabbit. She wants to help out these foxes. And so Grandma Fox says, oh, yeah, I just need you to go and pay the bills to my landlord, you know, my friend, Mr. So-and-so. And then the fox guy, he's all like, nah, Granny, come on, like, you know, he'll come here sooner or later. And Granny gets upset, and she's like, no, if he comes here, he gets upset. Like, you need to go to him. Oh, I'm so sick. You go to him and pay him my rent. And so the rabbit girl agrees that, oh, of course we'll go and pay your rent. It's no worry at all. We didn't have anything scheduled for today. So the fox and the rabbit girl get together, and they go down to this possum. And this possum is the one he runs the mob. Get it? Because I know he's in this movie because I saw the trailer where he was in it. So they go down to go see the possum, and of course he's just livid, you know. So he shows up and he's like, you know, where's my money? And the fox is like, well, I've got some money, and he's got a little bit of money. But it turns out that his grandma is in debt, like just stupid amounts of money to the mob. So he gives him a little bit of cash. You know, like how much do you need? I've got like a few $100. Like I've got enough to pay rent. Like you need like $1,000. And he's like $100,000. And the fox is just like oh God, $100,000. Wow. Boy, I'm gonna need $100,000. Well, just give me a little bit. I'll get you that money. And the possum guy goes, No, you've had enough breaks. Like you had enough leniency. It's about time you had to pay some of the collateral. So they sit him down and they decide that they're gonna kill him. But then the little possum girl comes out and she's like, no, not on my wedding, because it's a Godfather's joke. It's a Godfather's reference. And so she goes, oh, okay, fine. Like I'll spare their lives and all that. Man, somewhere in there's got to be a hook. I've lost a crucial story element, because somewhere there's got to be a hook that where the rabbit and the fox still have some kind of mutual benefit from each other, because the possum lets him go, and then the rabbit finds the little ornament for the motorcycle. Or like as they're going back, I guess you could have just a big dramatic fight, where as they go back, you know, and they're like, oh, thank goodness that possum let us go, man, what a crazy landlord. And the fox, thinking the rabbit won't notice, is put that ornament back on his motorcycle. And so the rabbit does notice, and she gets really mad, and she goes, what is this? Like, you threw this away. You stopped to throw this away. This is how we even got in this mess in the first place. And the fox would be like, no, like, I bought another one. He tries to lie to her. I bought another one. And she just gets mad, and she throws a fit, and you know, like, she demands to be taken home. And so then the fox goes home, and then he feels really bad because this rabbit clearly trusted him. And throughout the entire movie, they've been bonding, and they've had some jokes and some things, and then they have the flashback scene where he thinks back on all the times that he thought about eating the rabbit, but he didn't. And she thinks back on all the times that and then you got another juxtaposition scene, right? This would be another good time for comedy, where he's like looking back and he's thinking he sees her and she like looks like a hamburger, and then she slowly transforms into like this radiant, beautiful rabbit. And then she's like looking back and she's seeing like all these times that she saw this radiant, beautiful guy, and then he gradually transforms into like a big mouth, like drooling predatory animal. And so they're kind of going back and forth, and both of them start to feel really bad. She feels really stupid. She's been tricked. She let her rabbit sex drive get the best of her again. And he's like, oh man, I took advantage of this poor girl. So you know, that's our sort of climax, and then our resolution is later on. He calls her up and he cuts a deal with the mob, and he does some kind of dirty work for them. He does some sort of robbery. Yeah, this is where you go. This is where you get the sort of mutual benefit where you bring them back together. So he agrees. He calls up the mob and he goes, hey, look, like, I'm not really with your grandmother. And the possum guy goes, yeah, I knew that, but you know, I can't just let people push me around. And he goes, well, look, like, I need a lot of money, like, now. I gotta pay off a bunch of parking tickets, and I gotta get a license renewed, and a bunch of other things. Like, what can I do for you to get this money to pay off all my parking tickets, like, tonight? And so the possum goes, well, we're doing a bank heist. So the fox says, okay, all right, a bank heist. Like, I can get involved with that. I can do a bank heist. And so he goes out to do this bank heist, and of course, they set him up for the fall. Like, they set him up for the fall again. Like, this is what happens when you're a fox. When you screw around with people who you can't trust. Like, the fox keeps trying to break the rules. The fox keeps getting busted. He keeps taking a fall. This is where you've got your morals in the movie. This is what you do to characters like this, so everybody, like, implicitly knows that these kind of behaviors are... he's endearing because he's charming, and he's getting away with it, but he's getting punished throughout the process of this. So they set him up to take a fall, and they all run off and head out in separate directions and all that, and they leave the fox. But the first person to show up on the scene, because she's got the police scanner, is the little rabbit who comes, and she hears the description, and one of them is like a fox, and she's just so upset, and she's just like, no, no, it's not him, it can't be him. And so she drives off to go see the scene, and she's the first one to show up. She managed to get ahead of all the other police. So she runs into the fox, and she's just furious with him. She's livid with him, and he tries to explain. He's like, no, look, I was gonna make it all right. I was gonna pay back my debts. I was gonna do this. I was gonna do that. And so she, like, her one last little push for him. She agrees to help him get away with it. Like, she vouches. Like, the other police show up, and she goes, oh yeah, this guy's a witness. Like, he was on the street, and I stopped him and I interviewed him. And he, we had a scuffle, and when he's got a bag of money because the robber dropped some of the money, and yeah, we recovered the money, and so she covers for him, and she's still not real sure about it. She kind of beats herself up about it, and she goes, like, I put my neck out for you again, like, I can't keep doing this, like, I can't keep talking to you. We gotta split. We gotta not be doing this thing anymore. And so the fox kind of has this heartfelt deal. And he goes, look, I've spent my entire life trying to sort of outdo the system and sort of be too smart for everybody. And when you came around, like, you were just another one of these people that I tried to swindle, that I tried to get around, that I tried to take advantage of you, and prove that, I knew more than you, that you were stupid, and that I didn't belong in your system. But then in the end, the system had me by the balls, and you, being part of the system, helped me get out of it. You gave me one more shot, and I realized that by trying to swindle the system, I'm not really going to be able to get ahead with it. What I really need are people in my circle who care about me and are looking out for me. And the thing is, I'm always going to be a fox, and I'm always going to be a little bit like this. But, maybe we can keep benefiting from each other. Like I tell you what, like, I'm going to be a criminal, I'm going to be a swindler. But what if I become, like, an informant or something like this? Somehow we got to segue into this informant thing. And so they kind of talk, and this is the resolution that you get, is that she starts working with him as an informant. And so she gets promoted up through the police ranks and does really well in her career, and she's really happy because things are going good, and she's getting a nice stable deal, and she meets, like, a nice rabbit guy in the precinct. And they hit it off rather well. She doesn't have to fall in love with the fox because he's a fox, and it was never going to work in the first place. And the fox kind of gets kind of deep in the criminal underworld, and he doesn't totally change. He doesn't totally reform. He still probably has his fingers in cookie jars that he really shouldn't. But he's got his friend who kind of bails him out a little bit here and there. And aside from that, he has a net benefit for society. And so it's kind of like you can't totally fight your nature, because it's an animal flick, right? It's sort of an Aesop's thing. It's like you can't really fight, like, I'm a fox. I can't fight that I'm a fox. She's a rabbit. She can't fight that she's a rabbit. But all of us kind of together can form a functional society with a net benefit for the people involved and make the machinery work and everything else like that. Roll credits, happy ending. Your mischievous character stays mischievous. Your endearing, cute little rabbit character stays cute and endearing. Gets her family, and there you go. That's what I think Zootopia was about, based on the trailers that I saw and the information that was presented to me, and absolutely nothing else. The rest of it, and one pornographic picture I saw on Tumblr. The entire rest of that film, I have no idea what was in it. People have come to talk to me about it, but mostly everybody's just like, Greg, what did you think of the movie? And then they wouldn't spoil it or anything like that, so I have no idea what else is in the movie. But I think that would be an okay movie if that's what it was about. I strongly suspect I'm wrong on just about every count, but there we go. Yeah, all that was completely off the top of my head. I didn't really... I thought a little bit about it before I started this video, but yeah, my commitment was to get up here and just to rattle off an entire movie plot. Ad-libbing, so, yep. Yeah, there's some parts in that would definitely take some real fleshing out. Like, that would be a good, it could be a reasonable outline. You'd have to kind of get like that callback to throwing that thing in the garbage would be a little, well, I don't know. There's some things you'd have to tweak. There'd take some rewriting, some drafting and all that, but yeah. Zootopia. 10 out of 10. I think. I don't know. I really want to go see the movie. One of these days, I gotta get out of my house, my apartment, and go see the movie. I gotta quit being a... I gotta get out. I gotta get out more. But yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my completely fake, completely uninformed, didn't even see the movie review of, or synopsis of Zootopia. And I will catch you guys next time. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe, and of course if you really enjoyed it, share with your friends please, that's how we grow the channel. You can support us on Patreon if you want to help keep us going, but otherwise thanks for watching, and you have a good day.